What's up, everybody? It's Jeffrey Lyles. You are listening to Lyles Movie Files. There's so much stuff going on, and it's just the first day of July. I read a text, Instagram, Facebook, whatever, that basically said, and that was just the first half of 2020. And I feel like I need this year to be over anyway. But gosh, all that just happened 6 months ago. So let's talk about some more stuff in this crazy, ridiculous, seemingly never ending story that is 2020. Tonight, I got the boys with me. We're going to break down Ray Fisher's beef with Joss Whedon, Terry Crews doing a little soft shoe, and a couple topics about some actors and their starts. So let's kick it off. Jace, how you doing, little brother?
I'm doing good.
Cool. Chief, how about you?
I'm well, thanks. I'm well.
And Gunner, what's up with you, man?
What's good, man? What's good? How's it going?
Cooling. So, Ray Fisher, not a huge fan of Joss Whedon. As you kind of have guessed, some members of the Justice League cast were very happy that Zack Snyder is going to be able to share his vision of Justice League. And this is weird because it seemed like everybody was fine with the cut that came out in theaters, but literally the entire main cast of Justice League, Henry Cavill, Ben Affleck, Gal Gadot, Jason Momoa, Ray Fisher, and I guess Ezra Miller's the only one that hadn't had anything to say yet. Yeah, but it was just like, wow. Everyone was thrilled that the real version, their version of Justice League is going to get out in the Snyder cut. And Fisher tweeted out earlier this week that he took back everything he said during the San Diego Comic-Con Justice League roundtable or panel. And he's saying, yeah, DC got a really good guy to fill in for Zack, and really looking forward to it. He's a great guy, and yeah. And Fisher was just like, nah, dude, that was actually not the case. I take back everything he said. And basically he went on to say that Whedon he treated the cast in a gross, abusive, unprofessional, and completely unacceptable manner. And Joss Whedon and his crew said no comment. Warner Brothers also said no comment. And it's very interesting. One of the producers, John Berg, said that what Fisher said was untrue, categorically untrue, that we enabled any unprofessional behavior. And added that he recalls Fisher being upset that they wanted him to say Cyborg's signature "Booyah" phrase from the Teen Titans animated series. So, what do you guys think about all this? Jace, let's start with you.
I think Ray probably did the nice PC thing in San Diego Comic-Con because he's like, all right, there's probably another movie on the back end of this thing, so I'm gonna say all the nice stuff about it. Even though I'm pretty salty and most of my role is I got like really 3 scenes in this whole movie. So I mean now that it's like the Snyder cut is going to liberate all things DC Universe, he thinks it's a good idea to kind of say, I'm not playing that game anymore. I can tell my truth that, he was a horrible director. It's like, well, he's kind of been labeled. I mean, Joss Whedon's been kind of labeled that since Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I mean, so it's not like it's anything new. He puts up stuff people like. If everybody had loved Justice League, I'm sure none of this would have come out at all. But
it's kind of interesting, right? Because it's like, man, it's just everybody turned on whatever part of Snyder and whatever Whedon finished. Because it's like something that Snyder put together made it to that movie. Now, granted, you and I both 100% say that Warner Brothers screwed up Batman and Superman with their cut up version of that film that made it to theaters. So maybe I'm betting there's probably a better version, but it just seems like, man, did everybody just think this was a trash movie?
We've seen Watchmen, the extended cut, and it's like, oh, he has dark movies, but if you let them play out in its entirety, it's actually a good movie. It's like 300's like let the whole story play out, and everybody's like, yeah, that was a good movie. And I think DC didn't really get that. Now again, I'm not sure I want to see super dark Flashpoint where Ezra Miller's the hero, but do I buy that it's like, hey, do I need to see another Iris West? Probably not. Um, so there's a lot of stuff. I'm like, yeah, there's probably a better idea to leave some of that on the cutting room floor. But all of them turning like, yes, we finally can speak our truth. It's kind of like, y'all could have said, hey, yeah, there were some scenes I would have loved to see in the movie, 2 years ago, and that would have seemed more authentic versus now we can finally say it because Joss Whedon will never work on another DC project again. Which, from what I haven't heard anything or read anything that says he's completely out of DC. So who knows?
Yeah. Gunnar, what's your take on this?
Okay, who cares what Ray Fisher thinks about any of this? He was like one of the weakest links that they tried to make the strong link in Justice League, right? So, and I agree with Jace. Like, he just said the PC thing because that's who the dude was right then. The movie's coming out. You got to say all that. It's Comic-Con. Another movie coming up, most likely. Maybe my own solo for no reason. Who knows? So, so now he's just taking it back. I just think that's like the dumbest thing ever. And
he's not the first
also,
person
who cares?
to do that dance.
No.
Everybody does that dance where they're, I'm very excited. Then later, yeah, he was a pain to deal with. Couldn't stand him.
Right. But like, why are you making a big deal about it here with Justice League, right? You know what I mean?
I think there's something
suspect.
to what he's saying, just in the sense of how he was a one black character, and if his backstory, if a lot of his screen time got taken out, so basically maybe he had a larger role, which made him a more important character, got reduced to him just being like a sidekick supporting character, kind of like Flash, who did have a new movie, who at the one point had a movie coming out, so he didn't need as much screen time. Then he's got a point to me, and I think with this current discussion where everybody's like, hey, we do black people wrong? Shoot, tell us more. I think maybe this is where he's coming from with that.
Yes, I don't know. Keep in mind, also what's kind of like making me gloss over this is because there are two cyborgs are floating around here, right? We got Doom Patrol Cyborg, which, I'm sorry, has more depth than Ray Fisher's Cyborg.
The TV version better have more depth than a guy who's been in one movie.
You get what I'm saying, though? Like, even in the first 2 episodes, let's give them the 2 hours, right? Like, there's already more depth. You know what I'm saying? So, just like the depth of acting right there. Like, he's just like, this is weird. All of this is weird. I'm weird. Let's accept that. I feel like this guy was more woe is me. I don't know. I just didn't like the portrayal. I like the other portrayal. The two cyborgs floating around. So, I just think that his character isn't that important to me to make such a big deal about why he said what he said. He's an actor that says shit. Like,
all right.
Who cares?
Chief, what's your take?
Well, y'all know me. So I pretty much say what I need to say out of my mouth. I'm not in a Javon way. If you didn't have anything good to say in the first place, if that was the case, then why say anything at all? You know what I mean? And then to turn around and retract everything you said about it kind of makes you look fake. You know what I mean? Hey man, yeah, greatest time ever, loved it. And then a couple years later, how was that? Man, I hated it being out there. Like, what was the point? Don't say anything. You didn't have to say anything, or you could have just commented on the Snyder version. Yeah, I can't wait to see what Snyder puts out. Instead of writing, you know what I mean? Like, if you got to say something about another person, and it's to the point where it's really negative about that person, you should probably go see that person.
I think he's pretty tight with Zack Snyder because Zack called Ray up. He was one of the first people he called when he got the news that he had the green light to do this. Because apparently
But
Zack wrote that, hey, Ray was the heart of the film, and clearly from the theatrical version we saw, Cyborg was definitely not the heart. He was just another guy there.
all right, but then big up Zack Snyder. Why trash Joss? Like, I never understood trashing another. I mean, maybe that's Hollywood, but like, if I got a problem with you or something like that, you know what I mean? I'm not going to announce it on my Twitter feed. I know you, so I can call you and be like, hey, this is the issue with us, or hey, I didn't appreciate this, versus versus just telling the whole world, hey, you know, after you done big up somebody. So I just don't, you know, I don't approve. It's not that he didn't like his role in the film or whatever. That could be that, but you big up the man, then you turn around and you trash the man a couple of years later. Like the cut been the cut since the cut. So you had the Josh Whedon. If you didn't like the Josh Whedon joint, you could have spoke on that. And
No,
you don't have
dude,
to big up
you
somebody.
can't say that until afterwards because he has
Well, then
not
you
been
big up
getting a
something
lot of
else.
roles. Nah, but I
Well,
mean, you
if
got to
they
play the
say
game.
how
And
you
everybody
enjoying,
does that.
they say, well, the game is a game though. But you say how you enjoying your time. Oh, this has been a whole experience. I'm learning a lot. Versus, oh man, he's the greatest. And
No, I
then
think I have to show you guys a clip, but it was a deal where he was asked specifically about working with Whedon and what kind of how it felt about him replacing Zack Snyder.
I mean, you could be like, but you could still be like, yeah, I'm learning a lot from Whedon or whatever. You don't have to say, oh, he's the greatest person ever I met. You could say whatever. I mean, you can, how, just like a sarcastic email, when you send that email to somebody, you say, has I previously stated in the above email, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? Let them know that you've already said something, but you're saying it in a nice way. He could have said whatever in a nice way. There's nice ways to put things without directly getting involved in a person's work ethic or whatever. He just could have said, I enjoyed being with the cast, whatever. But I don't agree with bashing somebody, well, big ups in somebody, then bashing somebody.
All right.
Just
so y'all aren't
talk
down
about
with the
Zack.
negativity. Okay.
No.
All right. So I'm curious to see what this new version looks like. And speaking of people calling out things, Anthony Mackie also called out Marvel Studios for their lack of diversity. And he said Black Panther's almost all black crew was actually more racist than anything. So let me go to the full quote. But then when the Falcon and Winter Soldier comes out, I'm the lead. When Snowpiercer comes out, you're the lead. He was doing a podcast or interview with Snowpiercer's lead, Daveed Diggs. We have the power and the ability to ask those questions. It really bothered me that I've done 7 Marvel movies where every producer, every director, every stunt person, every costume designer, every PA, every single person has been white. That's not necessarily true because Nate Moore is a black producer at Marvel, and I know for a fact that he worked on Captain America, the Winter Soldier, and Black Panther. So I know because I've talked to Nate Moore specifically, and he talked to me about all that. So I'm saying that to give context, not to be like, ooh, look at this name I dropped. All right, so then he went on to say, but then when you do Black Panther, you have a black director, black producer, you have a black costume designer, you have a black stunt choreographer. And I'm like, that's more racist than anything else. Because if you can only hire the black people for the black movie, are you saying they're not good enough when you have a mostly white cast? I want to put that out to you fellas, because if I need to, I'll say something else, but I want to hear what you guys think. Gunner, sound like you got some thoughts on this.
Okay, so Anthony Mackie he strikes me now lately as somebody who loves being the only black guy in the room on the movie, etc. Adjustment Bureau, whatever else that's right. And I'm like, Clarence. I'm like, you like being that dude. I don't like that.
He's
So him
saying he
calling
doesn't.
out whatever. So that's what he's saying. But why are you calling out Black Panther where there was nothing like that? There is so rare that a movie makes that much noise, or even half as much noise. Let's say that half as much noise, money wise, attracting crowds. Even just the marketing of it. You know what I mean? Like a normal freaking movie, which is the weird thing about Black Panther, right? If a movie did half as well and half as much marketing, that is still a rare feat for an all-black everything cast, crew, everything. It is very few and far between we get that kind of distribution. We get that kind of marketing budget. We get that kind of marketing period from the distributors. And you're going to call out the fact that it is all black, that I get what he's trying to say. I just don't agree with it, and he's wrong. Like at the same time.
Right.
I'm just like, you just don't. I mean, we aren't there enough to even do that. So if we're gonna do it, why don't we tell our own stories? Yeah, like we got to tell our own stories, and keep in mind who the director was. Like he's been doing nothing but like, hey, this is for the culture movie.
Exactly.
Right?
That he is a definite for the culture dude.
So,
all right, Jace, what's your take on it?
Okay, maybe I did not read it in context the same, but I didn't think he was saying it was more racist that Black Panther place where black people were put in. I thought it was more of a him calling it like, hey, it's like, can we get more representation on everybody else? It's like Black Panther was the, hey, you guys could, if you make a movie with with black people in there, you can actually have a great movie, and it's almost critically acclaimed. It probably would have won an easy Oscar if folks wanted a pity Oscar award. I and maybe I didn't delve as far in the article as you did, but I thought he was more so calling it like, hey, Marvel, we need more diversity, more so than like we're marginalized on the one movie. It's like, hey, we need to not be marginalized on one movie. We need more representation on all of them.
I get that. I think that with Marvel Studios, of all of them, of all the studios that have done things recently, that have set all these box office records, calling them out for a lack of diversity is kind of interesting because right from the first one, they've made sure to have black characters in there in prominent positions. I mean, Rhodey was, like he is in the comic, or was in the comic, a key supporting member of Iron Man. The name of Iron Man's comic book is not Iron Man James, Rose, Happy Hogan, Pepper Potts. It's just Iron Man. So everybody else is going to be a supporting character. Captain America had a black character fighting alongside the white soldiers in World War II. Went to Howard too.
I mean, like his thing was they have diversity in front of the camera.
What I'm saying is, no, he was saying that they need more diversity all over, and I get that, but I'm also saying that you have to start by being in the room, and you have to have people in the films. I mean, because it's one thing to be like, hey, we should have more diversity in the movies, and yeah, let's have a token dude who has two roles, right? You get that, but then you have people like Anthony Mackie. I mean, if Anthony Mackie hadn't been in this or back in Winter Soldier, would he be in this position to be the lead of the Falcon and the Winter Soldier? Maybe they would never have done that show. Maybe it would have just been a Winter Soldier standalone, and he would be holding the shield. And I don't know. I think that's important. And because I know Marvel Studios has a black producer, and there was nothing intrinsically black about Winter Soldier or Civil War that, we got to have a black producer behind this. It was just so happened he's the best dude for it.
That's what I'm saying. Like, this is the worst example.
Yeah, I mean, you call out Warner Brothers,
like,
you call out anybody.
Right, you can
Marvel
call
Studios is like
Warner Brothers all day.
Yeah, I mean, it's just weird because it's like, I get we need more black people working on everything. That's not news. That's not a hot take. but calling out the one that actually seems to make more of an effort than most, in front of the camera, because honestly, that's what people see. And then, you hear stories like Ruth Carter did these amazing costumes on Black Panther, and oh wow, I didn't know that. I want to know more. And
Did she or did she not win an Oscar for that?
She did win an Oscar for that one.
I mean, I'm just saying, why is he calling out Black Panther? Like, there were Oscar winners and whatnot.
Like he almost needed to have some input on the topic versus saying, hey, like I've worked on like Gunnar said, like Adjustment Bureau. I was the only one there on the set. Like maybe it's like maybe because Marvel is the highest profile thing you've done, and you have a starring role. You want to say kind of put it to the forefront.
I mean, if you want, you can't even say that about Fast and Furious. They've had a black director, F. Gary Gray. I mean, you see, and honestly, those are the two biggest non-Star Wars franchises that are doing things. And honestly, you should call out Star Wars, but they've even had a director on episodes of The Mandalorian. Right. Warner Brothers, to me, is a target to go after, not just because I'm a Marvel guy and, hey, that's a DC property. They don't have hardly any diversity compared to Marvel Studios' Fast and Furious. Call it James Bond franchise, never had a black director, black screenwriter. I mean, the talk of having a black Bond on screen had everybody clutching their pearls. I mean hard to say
how Warner Brothers does. I mean, Warner Brothers in general, movies, TV shows, terrible. We were literally having a pre-recording conversation about how bad some of those CW shows are about presenting diversity in a normalized way, where they just throw it in your face like, we're doing this. There, we've checked the box. We've said this word. We said, as a black man, yada, yada, yada. I am trans now, yada, yada, yada. You know what I mean? Like, they force it in a way where it's like not natural and normalized. It's preachy, and that's Warner Brothers' attempt, right? Like, I'm just like, that doesn't even seem normal. I've had gay people say that to me too. I'm like, that's just, I hate when people do that. Like, we're normal freaking people.
So calling in live from LA, because the dude is just literally like, where's Waldo on this podcast? Jay King, what's up, man?
There it is.
What's going on, Jeff? What's going on, fellas? How's everybody?
Good. We're talking about this Anthony Mackie thing. What is your take on this?
Brief me real quick, because I didn't know that Anthony Mackie was a thing right now. What did he do? He didn't Terry Crews his way through anything, did he?
No, there's only one room for one tap dancing black. Nah, he's not. Come on, he's not like that.
I don't know.
Hello, my baby. Hello, my darling.
On the WB.
All right. So basically, he was just calling out Marvel Studios for a lack of black crew on sets, black directors, black producers. He wants more than just for Black Panther.
Okay. I understand the sentiment, but here's the but with that for me, right? We're going to, in this time, want all black everything, and I get it. Like I was texting y'all the other day, the BET Awards is on CBS. Let's see if that's the case next year, right? I think with the climate of everything that's going on, right? I think we're knee jerk. And look, I don't want to be placed in the Terry Crews category when I say this, but I think we're reacting a lot, and there's a lot of real injustice. I'm not just saying that the fact that Black Panther was and is, I look at it this way: Black Panther could have been directed by a white man. Black Panther's musical direction could have been headed by a white female, whatever, but it wasn't. That's not good enough, of course, right? But when we talking about we're talking about diversity. Like, we got our slice of that pie, and that's not good enough, of course, but we got a slice of it. As I've said before, if you're a Latino American kid, man, and you grew up in this country, you're a Latino American man, you're a Spanish man. You grew up in this country, you ain't never seen a superhero that look like you. You're Indian, you're Asian. You ain't never seen the Asian superhero, the Indian superhero. You've never seen it, right? So I want to see all of us be Native American.
Well, yeah. I mean, The Eternals has an Indian character. Shang-Chi's coming out. It has an Asian lead. I mean, it's like, of all the studios to call out, dude, the one that's trying to make some headway isn't the one to take the
one
fight.
that's trying to make the headway. Yeah, and I mean,
And
I get where
Shang-Chi
Mackie's
has
coming from, but
a
at the
Asian
same
director. So, I mean,
right. So
I
there you
know
go. So there
this
you
thing
go.
is not,
It's
we want to be all over, but it's like,
it's
I want
coming
somebody authentic to that too, like a Ryan Coogler doing Black
right.
Panther. I don't want Sylvester
Black
Stallone
Panther.
directing Black Panther. But that's
I
just
don't want Joss Whedon directing Black Panther or Green
right.
Lantern with a black man. Look,
Exactly.
it's coming. It's coming.
Yeah.
Y'all just gotta relax, man,
Got to
and
start
stop knee
somewhere.
jerk reacting to everything. Yeah, it's got to start somewhere, and it's starting. Relax, relax. I think in these times, man, everybody wants to be the one that had the most woke statement or the one that touched on something that nobody touched on, so everybody can say, "Ah, oh
That was
yeah."
good. Yeah,
We don't
yeah.
need that right now.
Okay,
Chief,
go
you
ahead.
got any
Sorry.
thoughts on this before we move on? So, interestingly enough, I think we talked about this earlier, but uh, the CW has yet to make a decision on Green Arrow and the Canaries. The Arrow showrunner told a fan on Twitter, "We should receive word one way or another very, very soon." So I'm happy about this because I was very glad to hear that, yeah, it's coming in fall of 2021. The fact that it's still in doubt makes me feel a little bit better because I don't want to see this spinoff. I think they should come up with something fresh for the CW if they want to do another superhero show. Preferably one that's just not carving out the carcass of Green Arrow and trying to do it like, hey, we've got a brand new show, and this time we've got a female Green Arrow. What do you think? Instead of the male version we got before. Do you guys care one way or the other, or are you hoping the CW does indeed move forward with this plan? Jace, sorry, buddy.
I was one of those people. So when I saw when they were doing basically carving out most of season 8 of Arrow,
7
or
and 8.
yeah, it's like 7 and 8, or Stephen Amell has 5 minutes of screen time, and this future subplot where you don't care about any of them has at least 50% of the show. And it was just like, no, I don't care about these. And then when they tried to these characters at all, and then when it was after Crisis, like, oh, so the fresh slate that you could have gone with and actually made a series, and then maybe had a twist at the end of season 1, 2, or whatever. You decide to screw that all up, and then hey, everybody remembers everything, yay! And this is our mystery one. Why you should care about this show? It's like, no, I don't care. I mean, it's back to I don't care about these characters versus that, like I said, a fresh take on the show. It's like, so now I don't care about these characters, and you want me to? I don't want to. I'm not gonna watch the show. So them not giving the full throated like, hey, this show is we're definitely gonna make it happen. It's gonna happen sooner than you think. It's now like, yeah, it's not gonna happen, but we just don't want the press right now. So
Right.
I mean, this is like, hey, in a kind of diversity world, we're just not gonna take that hit, and we're okay with it. But once everybody starts hating everybody again, we'll be fine.
Yeah. We'll
Um,
back.
yeah, so I'm just like, hey, good job. Just come up. I'm sure there's 1,000 other pilots that have a better shot of being done than this show that only very die-hard Felicity fans want. So yeah, that's it.
Well, I realized nobody else watched Arrow, so no one else probably cared about Green Arrow and the Canary spinoff. So let's move on to the next news item. On Twitter, Scott Malthouse challenged the world. He said, say a genuinely nice thing about the Star Wars prequels. I, of course, huge fan of the prequels. I understand why people don't like Phantom Menace, but I feel like you're missing it if you don't see all the stuff that's in there that sets up really great moments in the rest of it, especially as it relates to Revenge of the Sith and the larger universe that we see in Clone Wars. Over the weekend, I watched Looper, and it reminded me how talented and how skilled a filmmaker Rian Johnson is. I just watched that and like, gosh, this was so good. Love this film. One of my favorites in the sci-fi genre. And, he also directed a Star Wars movie that I do not enjoy as much, The Last Jedi. So he responded. There were lots of people that said tons of things. Like, oh, the gowns were great. The female Yoda character, cool. Watching Anakin's descent into darkness. But Rian Johnson said, Lucas made a gorgeous 7-hour-long movie for children about how entitlement and fear of loss turns good people into fascists, and did it while spearheading nearly every technical sea change in modern filmmaking of the past 30 years. I love that statement because it's so crazy how the prequels have taken on this whole new man. George Lucas saw this coming before everybody did, and he made a whole trilogy about it. And it's like we watch how the insidious Senator Palpatine slowly makes his way into becoming the president. Sorry, chancellor. Sorry, emperor. And it's really fun seeing, not fun, but interesting seeing how this plays out in the sci-fi world, where at the end of the saga, he dies at the hands of the person who he corrupted, Darth Vader. End story. What do you guys think about that? Looking back at the prequels, why don't I do the same thing with you guys? Let's say one genuinely nice thing about the prequels. Chief, let's start with you.
I'm a lightsaber man. I love the lightsaber fight. So, I mean, that's when I was a kid coming up, and the Star Wars came out, and in the 70s, the late 70s. That's how I remember Star Wars. You know what I mean? You talking about, I don't remember quote unquote the plot or what they were doing. I remember the lightsaber fight. I think when it came out in 78, the first one, 77.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was 2. So but I remember the lightsaber fight. You know what I mean? Like that's what before I could understand the plot or what was going on in the movies. I remember the glowing lightsabers. So, and those 3 sequels had excellent lightsaber fights. I mean, you prequels, they had excellent lightsaber fights. You can't argue that.
Good deal. Hey, what's your favorite of those lightsaber duels in those 3 films?
Damn, the Dooku, Dooku one, when I think both Dookus were good when he fought them in the
hangar.
And then Yoda came in. Yeah, he fought him in the hangar. Then Yoda came in. Then he fought him at the end. But also, one of the great lightsaber fights was there were so many. You go, but when they were trapped in that damn arena, and all of a sudden you see Windu's purple lightsaber come up from the crowd.
Yeah, this party's over.
Yo, you were like, oh yeah. So I mean, there was so many. There was good ones. Was there a bad one? Honestly, you had
not the prequel.
There wasn't a bad lightsaber fight. So it wasn't like they were fighting each other mentally from across the galaxy or some dumb shit. They were right inside
snatching beads from each other.
Right. Let's have the fight in our minds. They were right there fighting. So, yeah.
All right, good deal. All right, J. King, how about you?
Surprisingly, these movies, and I say surprisingly because everybody was so ready to shit on these movies when they came out. If you remember all the Star Wars fanboy nerds, whatever you want to call these guys, who was so against these movies and found so many things to nitpick about them. If you go back to them, Revenge of the Sith was 2005, right?
03. No, 02.
3.
No, that was
really?
Nah. Revenge of the
2002.
Sith.
It came out the same year as Spider-Man.
No, that was 05. That was 5, dog.
I'm sorry. I was thinking Attack of the Clones. I'm sorry. You're right. Revenge of the Sith was 2000.
Yeah, Attack of the Clones was 02. So I don't know if y'all remember, there were so many people who just couldn't wait to railroad each one of these movies afterwards. Yeah. I remember watching an episode of The Simpsons during that time where they were saying, no, Attack of the Clones suck more. No, Phantom Menace suck more. I would love to see how these people feel now that we've had another 3 installments of Star Wars.
Oof.
Right? Because these movies have held up. Oof. Hey, you sounded like Gunnar just now. You remember the toy with the U.S. baits? Oof.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oof. That's a pain point because these 3 movies held up so much better than these 3 movies that we just got since 15, right? Mm-hmm. 15 or 16, I don't remember.
Yeah, it's 15.
You're going to look back. Okay, 10 years from now, when we're in our 50s, we're going to look back at these movies and say, oh, my God, this was terrible.
Yeah.
More so than we're saying right now.
Yeah.
That won't
Agreed.
change. It'll probably get worse with time. What's gotten better, the prequel films were like wine, or more so like an album that came out then that was a little ahead of its time, that wasn't appreciated during its era. People liked it, but it wasn't really fully appreciated for what it was. That's what I think we're gonna be. We're facing right now with these three movies. These films weren't as appreciated as they should have been then, compared to a few years past. Now we appreciate them even more because we realize, okay, aside from some bad dialogue, these were good movies. Okay, these were decent movies, and it's not the Skywalker trilogy from the first movies that you remember. That was, I think, the hardest thing for a lot of people to divorce themselves from. This is a new story. This is a new story, So put yourself into that mindset. You're watching something. It's Star Wars, but it's not the Star Wars that you remembered from when. This is a different part of the story, right? This is what made what you came to see 10 years prior. Yeah. So grin, bear it, enjoy it.
Yeah.
And what's happened is these films have aged surprisingly well. We are not going to feel that way about this last three installment. We're not.
We are just not. You know why? Because of the words you said this one S word 3-4 times. The story. We already knew the damn story, but watch the story. No, it was a complete story from start to finish. Say what you will about Phantom Menace. I will not watch that movie. I hate that movie. I will fast forward. I won't even fast forward. Sorry. I will just skip ahead to the lightsaber battle, as Chief just said. Like, that was probably one of my favorite ones because it saved that damn movie. You know what I mean? It really did. So, but it's a complete story. Phantom Menace on. And you were like, this is a good story of how this happened. Dialogue was shit, but it was a good story.
Well, hold on.
Crap that just came out, there was no story.
Palpatine's dialogue was straight the whole way.
You
could sign no confidence. That dude's like the devil in that movie.
No. Whose dialogue was great?
Whispering on your...
whose dialogue was great? Palpatine's dialogue was great. Everybody else was like...
No, that's what I said. Everyone, but you could throw anybody, but Palpatine is untouchable on that dialogue thing.
No, that's his great acting too. Like, don't get me wrong. Dooku too. Dooku wasn't terrible.
Well, you're talking about
were great. All of them. Dooku and them were great. You know what I mean? But everybody else's lines, they just kind of like phoned it in. I don't know. Anyway,
McGregor, you thought was phoned it in? All right, what's your one thing? What's your one thing that you thought was good?
I feel like Chief stole mine, man. Like, I was like, those lightsaber battles were like top notch. Like I said, my favorite one, I like the Dooku ones because they were like just quality, and he just stayed talking shit. Like, I like that, right? He's like, look, I got you. Like, what are you doing? Like, you don't see that too much. You know what I mean? Even Mace Windu didn't talk that much shit. He should have. The Samuel Jackson. But Dooku was talking mad shit. He didn't care. He just didn't care. He's like, look, I'm kicking ass. Oh, good. Double the prize.
Well, you could do better. Like, yeah, he was talking trash.
Oh, the whole time. So I dig those. That's what I was like. I feel like I'll be just stealing Chiefs real quick. But but that first one is the one I will point to the most because it saved that movie. First time you saw Darth Maul do his thing, man, that dude was the man. And I mean, just a little trick killed him. Please, that dude should have killed both of them.
He didn't kill him, man. I don't know what you're talking about. According to Star Wars canon, that Joker survived.
No. I'm saying Darth Maul should have just took them both out. It was almost an easy joint. That dude was a kid. Care about no dude. Darth Maul was the man. I was like, his skills were far superior. The way he was pacing around that joint, dude, that joint saved that movie.
Hey, Gunner,
double lightsaber joint. First time you saw that double lightsaber joint. Come on, man.
That's one other thing. I got one caveat to all of this, right? You cared about characters in those three films. Darth Maul. You cared about Amidala, Mace Windu. You cared about even some of the auxiliary characters. You cared about their arcs, what was happening with them, right?
Even though you knew
this latest. Yeah, of course. With this new iteration, Poe, Finn, Rey.
You don't care about any of these people.
I don't care about any of them. even the baddie, Kylo Ren, was just a trust fund baby with a bad attitude. That's all he was. He's a trust fund baby. Could care less about him. If he would have sat in that room and destroyed, would have been funny when he was sitting there destroying in the first one, when he was destroying the room because he was mad at Ray for whatever. If they would have played something like Nirvana, "Come as You Are" in the background, or something like angst written, it would have fit. It would have just been so fitting.
Angsty
Just
shit.
having a bitch fit in his room. Let him get it out of the system.
Don't play garbage. I'm only happy when it rains.
Smashing for despite all my rage, I'm still just a
Oh my God, that's a Smashing Pumpkins, yo. You look like Smashing Pumpkins.
There's no more Tostinos, Mom. Jesus.
I want to play with Dad, with Granddad's lightsaber. All right, Jace, how about you, bro? What's your one nice thing to say about the prequels?
My one nice thing about the prequels, it told us where our characters were and how, it gave us a story on people we cared about in the original trilogy for us as kids, and gave you their background on how they got to where they were. It's like, if you didn't see, it's like, as much as everyone hates on Phantom Menace, if you didn't see the machinations of Darth Sidious, you'd be like, wait, how did he get there? It's like, well, you could call for a vote of no confidence. Not that I'm running at all, but, just in case you want to get rid of that guy and put me in charge, no problem. Oh, wait, I'm going to stay past my term because it's what you want. It's not my fault. Oh, I'm just taking the whole damn thing over. It's like, yeah, wow, that's how an emperor starts. And I'm gonna say Rian Johnson's statement was not very it wasn't groundbreaking. George Lucas said that when he was making the movie. He said, "Hey, I'm showing you guys how a dictator is made. It's not made by just taking stuff. It's by the people giving him everything he wants and not even figuring out what happened." It's like, he said that. He's like, "Hey, it's like, this is what happens in Germany. This is what happened in Italy. This has happened in Rome. I'm just making a space opera version of it." And he did a great job. And it's like, as much as, like I said, you hate the prequels, but you cannot, if you skip past Palpatine's dialogue in Phantom Menace, you miss half the story. If you skip past everybody foisting power on him in Attack of the Clones, you miss everything. And then when he just takes the whole game, and Padme hits the best line of the prequel. This is how democracy dies, with thunderous applause. Like we talk about bad dialogue, that is the best dialogue in that whole prequel.
Is that the I know of the prequels?
Yeah.
The what now?
The I know. I love you. I know.
Oh, I know was I don't know. I guess my I know was not from a Jedi. And he was telling the whole story of Plagueis. That's that shit right there.
Dude, yeah.
That was a great one too. It was like Palpatine is I've literally been on YouTube, literally listening to all of Palpatine's dialogue from all of the Star Wars movies. Like, damn, this is really good. Of course, he did. His 6 films he did was just awesome.
They were great. Really good, strong 6-film appearance and the Clone Wars TV show.
Really good. I finished watching what was it? Star Wars Rebels, when he made his guest appearance.
Oh! Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Hey man, I told you, man. It's 2 months. Pip, pip.
Okay. So yeah, we all agree. Prequels, good movies. We have different levels of how much we think they're good, but that's all good. I think we all collectively agree they're much better than the fan fiction versions that have been done after them. This is the last topic because we're getting long. Hollywood is doing something kind of interesting. They are whitewashing blackface, and they are doing the Men in Black. Hey, look here, this never happened. So they're removing episodes on TV shows like 30 Rock, and Golden Girls, and Mad Men. Not Mad Men. Hold on. And they're removing those episodes. While some like Mad Men are putting a disclaimer before the episode airs saying this episode represents, I don't have this verbatim, but deplorable mindsets from the time period to reflect the attitudes of people in this era. Other shows are just like, nope, never happened. And if you're not like me and have an obsessively huge DVD or VCR collection, all you're relying on to watch these old shows is streaming. And with them removed from the streaming, you'd never know that those kind of controversial episodes were around. So, what do you guys think about this removal of these episodes? And do you think they should be removed, or do you think they should have like the Mad Men disclaimer that yeah, we did it and it was wrong, but we were being accurate to the time frame?
Case by case.
Case by case. Case by case.
You know,
Mad Men did it right. Like I said, Mad Men did it right. I know
Right,
exactly
see?
which episode they're talking about. When he was at his own wedding and he put on the shoe polish and all that mess. Like, that was like, yeah, you're at a rich people wedding, rich white folks in the freaking, at the time, 60s, because it had already turned 60-something. So, yeah, I mean, sure, that works. The one from 30 Rock, I can go either way on that one. I see what they were trying to do, but I didn't like it. You know what I mean? Anything on the Sarah Silverman show can kiss my ass, right? Let's see. Let me go down a list of ones that I remember. You know?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's case by case, right? You know what I mean?
Good talk. All right, let's go on now to talk about the man of the hour, the guy who defies you to come up with somebody more deserving of this week's Dummy of the Week award. I'm talking, of course, the proponent, the proprietor, the gatekeeper of black supremacy, Mr. Terry Crews. So Terry's opened up his mouth again, and I feel like he is really trying to make sure that he wants to ensure that, unlike Anthony Mackie, he's going to continue to work in Hollywood when all this Black Lives Matter foolishness dies down. Anybody want to talk about Terry tonight?
Sure.
It's not good when you trend on Twitter. Let's just say that. In 2020, you trend on Twitter.
Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is Ho. Look, I understand why you tap dancing, man, because really all you do is come out there and yell and bounce your pecs up and down. You got nothing else to add to the equation. But here's the thing. That ain't going to get it, bro. That ain't going to get it. And he keeps running behind the diversity in his family and his diverse views, etc. And he loves everybody. The people like him always tend to hide behind that argument. The thing I always mention to them is that these movements aren't pulled out of the sky. This isn't a white lives matter issue or anything. Blue lives matter. Because here's the thing. Forget about white lives with the blue lives matter argument. I always tell people this. You had a choice if you're a blue life. You took a job. It was either this or Comcast or whatever.
Or McDonald's.
You took a job, motherfucker.
UPS,
you took
son.
a job.
You could have been a Brown. You could have been Brown too, Gunner.
Hey, wait. Isn't FedEx blue too? Are we talking FedEx Lives Matter?
Yeah, well, whatever they are.
Whatever is blue. So Lowe's employees matter. Okay.
Best Buy employees matter.
Best Buy guys matter. All right, man. See, I thought it was just police. My fault.
But no, you made a choice, right? Here's the thing. I didn't have a line to get into. This was what was given to me. And the fact that I have to say that my life matters to let you know that there is something greater afoot here than just me trying to exercise some point of view of black supremacy.
You got such a good rant. He put himself on mute.
Yeah, there we go. See, I'm sorry. You don't see the kind of advancement and opportunity outside of our bubble in the DC area, because we're an affluent black community in this area. We got it going on. When you go outside of here, and that's not a brag, that's a reality. You don't see it as greatly as you do here. We take that for granted. When you go other places and see what black folks got ahead of them, and this is not just beating the drum as depression. No, this is a reality, dude. We got a long ass way to go still in 2020. 2020, we still got a long way to go. So when I hear some jive time, jigaboo, boot wash and whitewash, ass licking coon like Terry Crews come up there and bounce his pecs and speak this Candace, whatever her name is, black man and white face bullshit. I just want to reach back to my shoulder blades touch and slap this goofy, because you need to stop with that, man. You really need to stop with that. That let me know you've been blinded. You've been operating on another system or with blinders on for a long time, man. Take them damn shades off and look around you, dude. It's bigger than all that shit you talking. Wake up.
Jace, you got something on it?
Are we just talking about Mr.
I mean, if you got another nominee, feel free.
Yeah, I'm gonna now. If this was a winning a competition, Terry Crews has it hands down. But I have another nominee who will fall to Mr. Terry Crews, and that is actually Mr. Will Smith. For some reason, Jada Pinkett, Jada Pinkett has had a long-term sexual relationship with another man who fills her needs. And Will just let this come out for some reason. I don't know if he didn't.
Will did not let that come out.
Huh?
The dude who was sleeping around with Jada apparently said this in an interview.
He got in his feelings because she cut it off. But again, this is one of those. If you're gonna do something like this in Hollywood, I'm thinking your lawyers will be like, for our brand purposes, we need to have an NDA here so this story never comes out while we're still trying to make money. He didn't decide to do that, and now he looks like it's going to be it's basically a situation where it's like you have to make a statement. It's like, do you guys have a marriage or a partnership, or you okay with her having other partners? You guys have an open relationship? It's like your next movie is going to be Jada's sex life, not even you cheating on Jada. It's like, this is a dumb idea, and you should have, saw this was going to happen like 10, 15 years ago, whatever, how long she's been grooming this kid. So, yeah, he's my dummy of the week.
All right. Let's see. Gunnar, where you want to go with yours?
Man, definitely Terry Crews, man. There's nothing in comparison to Terry Crews cooning ass, talking about Black Lives Matter should turn into Black Lives Better. First of all, I'm just gonna say it. We've been through hell and back again, and there is no other race in this world that can flourish the way we have been flourishing after the atrocities that have happened to us for centuries, plural. Sorry, that dude is ugh. That dude disgusts me. Nah, I think Terry Crews gonna start using lightning cream like your boy Sammy Sosa pretty soon.
Sammy Sosa.
He must become Sammy Sosa.
It's
The white
time.
as these walls in this house, boy.
In the famous words of the Joker, it's time to retire. So, fellas, thank y'all. As always, for rolling with me. Thank y'all out there for listening. This episode of Lyle's Movie Files has been filed.